Heidi ho, boys and girls. Time for another tutorial. Mike from TUFF Paracord here. This time we're going to do a 4-color snake knot bracelet. And just like my other snake knots, I like using these breakaway clasps. Because the snake knot is such a nice round knot and this continues it. And you can't really use standard buckles because all 4 strands are going to be working ends. So you have to do one half of the buckle, make your bracelet, and then put the other half of the buckle on afterwards. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. Again, like my other snake knot tutorial, I'll just show you again real quick. I take about 1.25 inches or so of core strands out of 2 of the cords so that I have about 1 inch or so of the end of the cord that's gutted. Then of course I'm not going to recommend anybody do this with their fingers like I do. It is, you know, melted nylon and you could burn yourself pretty bad, but this is the way I do it. Get it back in there and melt those 2 together. Make it nice and small because the hole of the clasp is fairly small. And I always use there's a long half and a short half, as you can see here. I start with the long half and we'll just go ahead and thread that through, and I take some hemos or needle nose pliers and pull that out. As you can see, it comes out of there fairly easily. Bring it through until where you can cut it has got the inner strands again. Okay, we're going to melt that, get those nice and gooey and melted together. And it has to be large enough so it won't come back through that hole, but small enough to go down inside, because you're going to pull this down inside there. Boom, and there it is down inside there. Nice. It's just never going to come out of there. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll start my first snake knot, which is wrap the closest one to you around the backside and make a loop. Just like that. Let's go ahead and zoom in here just a little bit. And then you'll reach under that cord, grab your other cord, and go down through that loop. Okay, now as you'll see, this sort of creates a figure 8 with the cords, with 2 coming out. Now you're going to take your 3rd and your 4th colors. Oh, we can get it a little tighter, a little closer than that, I guess. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more so you can see this. Now, this strand, one strand will go in one half of that figure 8. I'll stick it through about 1 inch or so. And the other strand will go through the other half of that figure 8. Okay, then you're gonna, so it looks like this. Then you're going to cinch that first knot down. Make it nice and tight. Snug it up close to your clasp, because at the end you're going to snip and singe. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Get it nice and close to the clasp, because at the end you're going to snip and singe those 2 secondary colors. Okay. Now, what you're going to want to do after you've tightened this up, get it nice and snug. That's your first snake knot. Now you take the one that is closest to you and wrap it around the outer 2. Now you're only using the secondary colors. You're wrapping it all the way around. Now, here's the thing. You can't go over that 4th color like that. You've got to reach under the two closest to you to make that snake knot, and then just down through that hole. So again, with those secondary colors now, you've got one of your primary colors coming out one side of that figure eight and the other one coming out the other side of that figure eight. Okay? You guys getting that? Okay, now you're just going to cinch that up, because these knots, as you see, the snake knots nestle together like that. Get that one nice and tight, and then what you're going to end up doing is grabbing your knots and pulling your primary colors, the colors you didn't use in that knot, and pulling it fairly hard. Grab the knots, and then that will nestle those two together like that. Okay? Then those become outside cords, and your primaries become your inside cords. Now, we're just going to repeat this process over and over again. Whatever side is the farthest from you, whatever color, I'm sorry, is the furthest from you, in this case it's this black-white camo, you're going to wrap first. So the colors that are furthest from you is the colors you will always wrap first. In this case, it's going to be the black-white camo and the red, okay? So we'll wrap that, just make a regular snake knot, wrap that around. Now remember, we can't bring this one around everything like you would think. You've got to take and reach under these two cords, bring that one around your second color for that knot, and make your snake knot. Then once again, as you see, your secondary colors are just like that first knot. They're coming up through that figure eight, okay? Okay, now we're going to cinch that down nice and tight. Get this nice and tight so all the knots are the same size, okay? Because that's what's going to give you a nice consistent look throughout the bracelet. Okay, and then again, after you've got them tight, you grab your inner two, the two colors that you did not use for that last knot, and pull on them. Okay, that nestles these knots together. Okay, let's do it a couple more times. It's pretty simple, so shouldn't take long, and then I'll break away and I'll come back and show you how I put the other half of this clasp on there, okay, to end it. Okay, so now, again, our last color was burgundy and camo. So we're going to do the red, because that's the color that's furthest away from us on the knot. We start wrapping the red. We reach under the red and the color that's closest to us. Grab that second color and make your snake knot. Okay. And you're going to continue, just nestle those nice and snug. You can see how these knots sort of fit together. Let's zoom in again on this. See how those knots just nestle together like that? Tighten them up nice and tight. And again, grab it, every single knot, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to grab those inner cords and pull nice and tight. Make it a nice hard knot, okay? That way all the colors nestle together like that. See that? Okay, we'll do a couple more, and then I'll break away and come back and show you how to end this thing. Okay, last color was blue and red, so this time it's going to be the camo and burgundy, always starting with the color furthest away from you, which is the camo. Wrap it around. You're just making a standard snake knot, except again, just reach under these two cords, grab that burgundy, and bring it around and through that loop. Okay, tighten that knot down. Nestle those together so you know you've got a pretty close fit. And then as you can see, you get a little gap right here. Okay. How you get rid of that gap is to grab this, grab the inner cords, the cords you did not use in that knot, and pull. Okay. And that will get rid of those gaps between the knots. Okay. One more time. Last color was camo. This time will be red. Wrap around. Reach under the first two cords. Make your snake knot. Okay. Now I'm not going to go ahead and make a full bracelet out of this, but I am going to, I won't even break away. I'll just go ahead and show you how this is ended and pull those tight. Okay, now you're only going to be able to get 2 gutted cords through this little hole here. Okay, so again at the end you're going to be snipping and singeing 2 of them right at the buckle. So what you want to do is when you get to a certain spot that you're going to need 2 more knots to make your total length correct for the bracelet. You're going to cut your remnants to about 4 inches or so. Okay, about 4 inches. Now 2 of these you're going to have to gut back to about 1.25 inches from your last knot, because you're going to tie, remember, you're going to tie 2 more knots, and the cords that are going to be the cords you snip and singe at the end, you obviously don't need to gut because they're not going through the clasp. So with 2 more knots, the next knot is going to be camo, the next knot will be red. And so the second knot from here is going to be red and blue. That means you're going to be using your inner strands after that knot, which is going to be burgundy in this case anyway, burgundy and camo. Your inner strands you're going to have to cut to about 4 inches here and gut down to about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, some right in that range. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, see that? Okay, now we're going to gut those cords down to probably 3 inches. Take 3 inches of guts out. Okay. Okay. Now you've got like 3 inches there that's totally gutted. Okay, so our next wrap will be these colors, obviously. So you do your snake knot, reach under, get that knot done for yourself. Remember, always grab that knot and pull it down. That nestles them together nicely. Okay. Then you're going to do 1 more knot with the inner strands, which will make these gutted ones the inner strands. So again, the outside color away from you is red. So you're going to wrap red first. Just reach under these 2. Grab your blue in this case. Tie your knot. Now, as you see, That makes these gutted cords. Now it's, as you can see, it's gutted all the way to here. I've got no inner strands in that cord. Okay, so we're going to make that nice and tight. We'll pull that tight. Okay, now you can go ahead and snip and singe these other two, the last knot you tied. Make it nice and flat. Okay. Cut it nice and close. Okay. That gives you two ends coming out. All right. Now, you're only going to need a 1/2 inch, 5/8 of this left. So we'll go ahead and cut those to about that length. Probably even need less than this. Okay. Sorry about that. Somebody had come to the door. Okay, again, we have about 5/8 inch or so of this 1/2 inch or so. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did at the beginning with that. We're going to melt these. We're going to melt them all the way back to this last knot. Okay? And some of this is going to get cut off because you just don't need this much. Okay, now see how that's melted all the way back to that knot. You want to get this fairly small. Okay, see how that's, here's the hole, and it just slides in there easily, right there. Okay, now we'll go ahead and take off about, you only need about 3/8 of an inch. We'll go ahead and cut that to 3/8. We'll melt that again. We're going to melt that right back. Now I have a utensil for this that fits perfectly. You can use a drill bit or an Allen key, a hex key, anything that will fit nicely down inside there with a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, I just happen to have a fiberglass tool just for this that I made. Okay, and then now what we're going to do is melt this again all the way back to those knots. You're going to have to get it really nice and gooey because after you're going to stick it through that hole, hold it there, and then mash that down inside there. Okay, now see how that is mashed in there? It's not ever going to come out. It's a nice big blob. It's just not going to come out. Okay, and that's how you finish them up. We'll go ahead and snip and singe these to finish this up for you. You're going to want to like bend that out of your way, of course. You don't want to be melting your clasp. Okay, mash that in, bend that away. You can use scissors for this, of course. I do both. I use scissors and I also use my utility knife. It works just fine. Okay, and that's it. That's how you make the 4-color snake knot. Enjoy making that, folks. Oh, again, if anybody would like to like and share my Facebook page, Mega Tough Paracord Products, I would greatly appreciate that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video as much as you like. I appreciate all you guys watching my videos. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.